Information Technologies Operations is the process responsible for acquiring, designing, deploying, configuring, and maintaining the physical and virtual components that comprise your IT infrastructure. Hi everyone, this is Kavya from Edureka. Welcome to today's session on what is IT Ops. Before we begin, I'd like to address the agenda. Firstly, we will understand what is IT Ops and what does IT Ops really do. Then we will talk about some of the IT Ops processes and then compare IT Ops with DevOps. We will then move on and discuss the IT Ops best practices and what does an IT Ops manager really do. Finally, we'll conclude this session by discussing about AIOps, that is the future of IT Ops. I hope the agenda is very clear. Kindly take up this time to subscribe to us and do not forget to hit that bell icon to never miss an update from the Edureka YouTube channel. Also, to learn more about new trending technologies, visit our page, the link to which is given in the description box below. So without much ado, let's get started. What is IT Ops? Now, the main question is what is IT Ops and why do we really need it, right? IT operations refers to the set of processes and services that are administrated by an IT department within a larger organization of business. IT operations is one of the 4 defined functions in the ITIL best practices framework for IT service management, along with technical management, application management, and the service desk. As a discretely identified function of the IT organization, IT ops often function as a distinct working group within the IT department. So, an IT operations team really consists of a group of IT operators that is led by an IT operations manager. So, in short, it just refers to a set of processes and services that are administrated by an IT team. Now that we know what is IT ops, let's move on and understand what does IT ops do. So now an IT operations team can consist of IT operators managed by an IT operations manager or a cross-functional team of network and systems engineers, network security professionals, and other job titles that work together to manage and maintain the IT infrastructure. Now, the disciplined agile framework identifies some classifications for IT operations tasks, along with the connected activities that correspond to each strategic objective. So, the first task of the IT operations team is to run solutions. Running solutions is the main reason that IT operations really exists. IT operators are responsible for performing data backups, restoring system after a service outage or update, configuring and tuning servers, and other configuration items to optimize the performance and allocating IT resources where they are needed to promote effective service delivery. The next important task that they will have to perform is to manage infrastructure and configurations. Now, oversight of IT infrastructure is a key responsibility for IT operations managers. The IT infrastructure is comprised of computing and networking hardware, along with software applications that run on them. Infrastructure management includes oversight of hybrid cloud environments, applications deployed in the cloud, network security management, facilities management, and hardware IT infrastructure components. IT operations also must document hardware configurations and solution dependencies, as well as implement new configurations to promote optimal performance of the IT infrastructure and services. The next important task is they have to evolve infrastructure and govern IT operations. Now, IT operation plays a dominant role in day-to-day maintenance, but IT operators can and must act as innovators who work to evolve the infrastructure in a way that meets the demands of the business. This includes activities such as identifying impacts of change, applying software patches, and introducing new hardware and software applications to drive service performance. IT operations monitors and measures the performance of the IT infrastructure, including the IT organization's security posture. Now, it may also develop operational metrics to help evaluate the performance of key processes and services, manage software license compliance, and conduct infrastructure audits to verify that security and performance targets are being met. Now, the last and the most important task is to mitigate disasters. IT operations teams are typically in charge of a business organization's disaster recovery plan. IT operations teams plan, simulate, and practice disaster recovery situations to protect the business from experiencing significant downtime and lost revenue if an unexpected problem or disaster causes a major service outage. Now that we have discussed the major tasks that the IT operation teams have to perform, Now let's move on and talk about some of the ITOps processes. Now, typically reporting to the Chief Information Officer, IT operations creates management processes to accommodate all IT needs of an organization. Now, the four main IT operations management responsibilities are infrastructure management, development management, problem management, and security management. Now, I'll be discussing each of these in detail. The infrastructure management refers to the setup, provisioning, maintenance, and updating of all the hardware and software in the organization. And this could be anything related to physical servers, network infrastructure, operating systems, hypervisors, platforms, container environments, application software in on premises data centers or in the cloud. It is the IT operations team's responsibility to ensure that all infrastructure components run smoothly and new solutions are integrated seamlessly. Whereas in development management, IT Ops provides exact guidelines, goals, security standards, and workflow that software development teams need to succeed. IT operations teams need to work closely with DevOps team members to integrate stability, performance, and security solutions into the development lifecycle, and to ensure compliance with service level agreements and industry and government regulations. In problem management, which is also called as incident management or event management, the first one is the preventative measures, and the second one is reactive measures. Preventative measures anticipate and avoid the negative impact of changes to the IT environment. Reactive measures deal with outages, cyber attacks, and other problems as they occur and include implementation of disaster recovery and help desk services. Security is an integral part of IT service management and needs to be integrated with each of the before mentioned responsibilities. This includes keeping the hardware and software secure, managing access control, implementing security within DevOps processes, and ensuring security standards are met across the environment. So, with this, we'll move on to the next most important comparison, that is IT Ops versus DevOps. Now, for all of y'all who don't know what DevOps is, DevOps was coined as a combination of the software development and information technology operations teams in the IT infrastructure. Some of the most common tasks of a DevOps engineer is to take in charge of ensuring CI/CD development, developing microservice architecture, automating the delivery pipeline, migrating software to new platforms, deploying custom IT infrastructure, etc. So let's move on and talk about some of the differences between ITOps versus DevOps. First, we'll talk about the rigidity. Now, this includes adhering to standards and regulations in various security audits. IT Ops historically follows a precise and linear approach to installing, securing, and maintaining systems. Now, while this approach tends to reduce risks, it makes it hard to implement any quick changes. It is typically used for non application related IT tasks and with commercial off the shelf software. On the other hand, the role of DevOps tries to be as flexible as possible, experimenting with different approaches to find the fastest and the most suitable solution. DevOps mostly uses agile software development methodology. And for all of you all who don't know what this methodology means, it really breaks the process into small increments called sprints, which gives the developers more freedom to apply frequent changes. The next difference is the delivery time. IT Ops' greatest concern is to provide a stable and secure infrastructure, and ensuring this requires a lot of time. Today's market dictates a fast pace of product development, which is very hard to follow with the traditional IT Ops approach. Now, when it comes to DevOps, everything about their role revolves around speed. DevOps means goals include shortening the software development lifecycle as well as shortening time to market. Now, since DevOps aims at speeding up the delivery process, they really have to act quickly and may fail to communicate the full extent of the changes to the rest of the organization. IT Ops is left with a system that changes its complexity at a rapid rate, which fuels frustration with the DevOps team, especially when tight deadlines are included. Now, every project requires a different approach, which is why the IT Ops teams needs to accommodate new infrastructure requirements. Now, for instance, the company can work on a big data project that requires a lot of storage, then move to a project where it's paramount to read data in the fastest way possible. Instead of waiting on IT Ops to develop new infrastructure, some DevOps decide to cut out the middlemen and get the infrastructure they need from a cloud service provider. This quick fix is sometimes very inevitable due to time restricts, but it also poses a security risk. Now, since ITOps has little control over the outsourced infrastructure, they can't always perform all necessary compliance and security audits or respond to a security issue in time. ITOps versus DevOps working together. Now, the work of ITOps and DevOps is very intertwined, creating many interdependencies. The two teams need to work together, and communication is key. Now, if DevOps fails to keep ITOps informed of changes, system stability and security is at risk. But if they wait on feedback from ITOps in every iteration, now aligning your ITOps and DevOps teams helps prevent conflicts and misunderstandings. And what really is more important is optimizes the software development process. Now that we know the differences between ITOps and DevOps, let's go check out the ITOps best practices. There are certain steps that must be followed by the ITOps teams and the managers to get the best and optimum results. The first one is to pick one or two pain points with value. What simple processes or small tasks are important to your organization but are bogging your team down? Pick points that you can quickly and easily measure the value of once you are up and running. Now, once you've got your list of pain points, it's time to sell the value of your automation project to the key decision makers within the organization. Go over the benefits in detail and be prepared to counter any objections and show evidence of projected return on investment. The more prepared you are ahead of time, the better your chances of winning over the powers that be. Carefully evaluate available intelligent automation tools to help you choose the right product, and then learn as much as you can about the one you choose so that you can truly convey the benefits that it will have for your business operations. Foster IT automation skills within your team. Make it clear to IT personnel that automation isn't something to fear, that it is not there to eliminate the jobs, but rather to make them more effective and productive, and to provide the opportunity to enhance their skills, becomes more marketable, and achieve more growth in their careers. Encourage communication between IT teams and business people. DevOps and automation go hand in hand with the shared goal of bridging the gap between IT personnel and those on the operational end of the technology. For optimum results, a solid relationship built on trust and open communication should be developed and fostered. Develop key performance indicators and measure results. Now, once you're up and running with automation, it's very critical that progress is continuously monitored, measured, analyzed, and modified accordingly. Develop a list of which performance indicators are most important to your organization and then measure regularly to ensure optimum results. In summary, organizations that follow these practices will not only increase agility and reliability, but they will also have a more productive, happier staff. Now, IT ops that know how to utilize these tools will have more opportunities for growth, both within the workplace and beyond, as demand for these skills continues to grow. Moving on, let's go check out the role of an IT ops manager. So each business or IT organization is entitled to establish its own set of rules and responsibilities for IT operations manager. In terms of the ITIL framework, the role of an IT ops manager is to assume control and overall responsibility for all service operation activities that are under the purview of IT operations. IT operations managers are the process owners for the IT operations control process, the goal of which is to exercise and maintain control over IT services and the connected underlying infrastructure. This includes overseeing the associated daily and routine tasks, such as workload scheduling, creating data backups, restoring systems after outages, and other regular maintenance activities. IT operations managers may also take on responsibility for facility management activities, which include the oversight and maintenance of the physical environment that houses the IT infrastructure and hardware. This key responsibility includes making sure that server rooms and data centers are adequately ventilated and air conditioned to prevent overheating, and ensuring that backup systems are in place to maintain service availability if a power outage occurs. Now, the collective responsibility for facility management and IT ops control gives IT ops managers end-to-end deterministic control over insight and accountability with respect to the availability of IT services. With this, we're going to move to the last topic of this session, AIOps, the future of IT ops. Now, IT infrastructure components, applications, and performance monitoring tools generate huge volumes of IT operations data, volumes that increase rapidly as organizations undertake digital transformation and adopt cloud computing services and hybrid cloud environments. In fact, global research and advisory firm Gartner estimates that the average enterprise IT infrastructure generates 2 to 3 times more IT operations data every year. Now, in order to better deal with and leverage this data, IT operations teams are relying less on domain based IT management tools and manual monitoring and intervention, and turning to increasingly to data driven AI powered automation, launching what's known now as AIOps. According to Gartner, which coined the term in 2017, AIOps enables IT operation teams to be more agile and responsive by helping them with separate significant event alerts from the noise of the surrounding IT operations data. It also identifies root causes of problems and propose solutions. It automates incident management and response, including real time responses and proactive resolutions. It also achieves the visibility and automation needed to support DevOps teams without added management effort. And finally, it will allow you to learn continually to improve response to and prevention of future issues. With this, we've come to the end of this session of What is ITOps. I hope you had a great time learning about it. If you have any queries, feel free to comment them in the comment section below. Until next time, thank you.
I hope you have enjoyed listening to this video. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries, and we will reply them at the earliest. Do look out for more videos in our playlist and subscribe to Edureka channel to learn more. Happy learning!